I've just been laughing because there's a whole bunch of construction going on out the window and it's making some very, very odd sounds. So I apologize now if you're hearing sounds that sound a little strange coming through the microphone. Anyway, it would be an understatement to say that I'm passionate about psychology and the importance of our mindset as it relates to business. That would be a pretty severe understatement, actually. I have been studying business psychology and the impact of psychology on business results for many, many years. And there's no doubt, and you already know this, that one's mindset is super important to business. But we have a tendency of leaving it to later thinking, to later in the day. We have a tendency of focusing more on cash flow and all the rest of it, not fully understanding that our mindset drives the behavior which creates the result. We know that, but we forget about it when we're very focused external to ourselves. So I want to take some time, not only in this module, but throughout the whole program, to bring us back to the core of your business success, which is your thinking, your mindset, and what you're doing in relation to using this 3 pounds of gray matter above your neck to create success in your business. So let's talk mindset. Let's get going with that right now. And as I was sort of saying, we know that brain power is super important, but it relates also to business resilience. Not only when we make ourselves mentally resilient, does it affect our behavior, it affects our business as well. And so on the external, we're building systems, which builds business resilience. So we need to pay attention to the internal systems as well. We need to understand them, we need to fine tune them, and we need to leverage them to create success. So that's what we're going to be talking about throughout the whole program on mindset. And in this particular module, in this particular lesson, I want to focus on two competing concepts. They're related, and they compete against one another all the time in business. And that's why sometimes you feel a bit funky when you're doing the actions or not doing the actions which are important to your business. So I'm going to spend just a few minutes to talk about those right now and introduce you to these concepts that you may not have heard of before, but we know through research and science that they're there all the time when we're looking to make decisions in business. So I want you to think of these as sort of two parts of a circle, and we're going to obviously talk about one half now, and then we'll bring in the other half of that circle, and then we'll, sorry, pardon for the pun, we'll complete the circle. Basically, we'll come back around full circle on how this is impacting your business and some ways that you might be able to deal with that. So one half of the circle is referred to as freedom from the outcome, and that is when you're thinking to yourself that you're just letting go of results. You're working from your best intentions. You're stepping forward and willing to do what's necessary with this sort of open heart, open mind, and really give it your all, always doing your best to create the results for your clients. So let's use an example of when you're in a business sales call of whatever ilk we're talking about here, whether it's on the phone, on a Zoom, in person, whatever. Being able to give of yourself without wondering whether or not somebody's going to purchase what it is that you have to offer. The idea of letting go of that outcome. So you have freedom from the outcome. So you can just not worry about what's going to happen next. Not worry about 2 minutes from now or 10 minutes from now or 2 weeks from now, but you just let go because you understand that you can't control it. Once it leaves your mouth, you can't control it anyway. So really letting go of the outcome. When we don't let go of the outcome, we tend to hold back, and that really impacts not only how we do our business, but how we generate business, how we generate new clients. And in all of business, your ability to be free from the outcome of that business helps you to be fully present to your business. Um, it makes sense when it's being said, but sometimes it's really difficult to understand it in the day to day of business. And that is part of what we'll pull apart and pick through as we go throughout the program. I'm introducing this now because you'll see how it might impact your day even at the beginning of this course, even at the beginning of the program, and your engagement in the program, and whether or not you're coming to the weekly calls and such like that. Because there's an outcome, isn't there? And you want that outcome to be really, really good. At the same time as you're working from your best intentions, you want to show up and do your best, and you want to be free from the outcome. So yes, freedom from the outcome. So if freedom from the outcome is on one side, what's on the other side? Well, given that these are two competing concepts, it's got to be the opposite, doesn't it? And it kind of is the opposite. What's on the other side of that is your clarity of intent, meaning, are you focused on achieving your goals, particularly your performance goals? Are you focused on getting stuff done? Are you focused on taking that direct action and asking for what it is that you need? So again, going back to a sales conversation, asking for the sale. Really going for it and putting all of your attention into what's going on in this moment so that you can generate the business. I mean, that's what you're in business for. Is you not only do you want to create solutions for your clients, but you want to generate business. You want to create your personal lifestyle. You want to be able to have the sort of cash flow coming in that feeds you in all sorts of different ways. But feeds you, feeds the family, feeds your passions, feeds your life. And so having clarity of that's why you're in business. So on the one hand, you've got the idea that I'm not attached to the outcome. And then on the other hand, you've got, I want the outcome. So how does that work? That how does that work? You've got these two competing things going on all the time. We always People tend to want to show up and be their best. They tend to want to be altruistic. They tend to want to be giving and serving. We talk a lot about serving clients, but we also have this clarity of intent, don't we? We want to serve our clients really well, and we want to make money. We want to serve our clients without worrying what's happening next, and we want to build our business. So they really do conflict with each other in many different ways, and they are attached to one another intricately every day that we're working in and on our business. When we're working in our business and serving our client, we are trying to be fully there and present. Even if you're, like me as a coach and consultant, I try and clear my head and all that sort of stuff. But as an accountant, maybe that's, you're focused more on, you're not with your client at that moment in time. You're working on their paperwork or whatever is going on. So, but you're still serving your client and you want to always be doing your best. And at the same time, you recognize that you have other clients and you want to also leave time and energy and effort to market your business and move your business forward. So you have these two conflicting things going on all the time. And you know what? That's absolutely okay because that's part of the mindset. The reason why I'm sharing with this with you is so that you know that it's there, so that you understand that this is going on in your head all the time, so that you can recognize those moments where you are fully present to what's going on, what you need to be doing to deliver the client fulfillment part, which we'll come back later to in the program, so that you're fully there for and dealing with the expectations that your client has. And at the same time, you're driving a business that is there to fulfill your passions in business and in life and to help you create a personal lifestyle and, create the sort of outcomes that you want while trying not to pay attention to the outcomes. Sometimes just naming the situation can really help to minimize its impact. This is going to be going on all the time. Sometimes it's conscious and you can sense the conflict between the two, and sometimes it's not. So when you are hesitating perhaps maybe come here first and say to yourself, okay, which of these two is in the forefront of my mind? Which of these two is causing me some difficulty here? Which of these two things do I want to bring more forward? It's important that we get up every morning energized and clear of our intention to build our business, and at the same time get out of bed willing and able to serve our clients, willing and able to meet their expectations and to fulfill those expectations, sometimes more than they're even expecting. So being able to understand that this is going on all the time for you is sort of a first step in understanding the way that your mind is working when you're working in your business and working on your business. It is okay that both exist at the same time. It's not okay if one becomes more overpowering than the other. We'll talk more about that later in the program. So let's keep going.